a common question that we get every day of the week, and take you through the explanation a little bit better, which is, do I need council approval for my deck or patio cover? And the first port of call to really answer that is to go through this document here, which is the Exempt Development Checklist. And this can confuse a lot of people, or they can get some wrong advice in relation to which points to look at. So we're going to start over on the right-hand side underneath the general requirements. And the first point to really acknowledge is you got to make sure that you're 900 millimeters, I should say, off the boundary line, and you've got to be behind the building line of your road frontage. So the RU zones here is really not applicable for us because that's generally in rural applications, but the 900 millimeters should cover most people throughout the Sydney Basin. Most people stop here in terms of it must not have an area of more than 25 square metres and don't go any further, but they don't take into consideration these other points. And I think there's roughly about a dozen to consider. The next one here, on a lot larger than 300 metres squared, which would be for most of our clients, it refers to 15% of the ground floor area of the dwelling of the lot. So that basically means that if you've already got a balcony, a deck or terrace area, pergola, etc., the sum of those areas can't be more than 15% of the ground floor, 15% of your lot, if that makes sense. So generally speaking, that should be covered and you can fall back onto that 25 square metres. Walls, not more than 1.4 metres in height. And this really next one here, not have a floor height of more than 1 metre above the natural existing ground level, really applies for your decks or your external floors. I get this a lot where people just presume they can throw up any type or size of deck, but really they've got to come back here as well. Now here, not be more than 3 metres at the highest point above existing ground level. That can also be taken into consideration if you're going to do a gable or something along those lines. If it is to be constructed out of metal components, it should be of low reflective factory pre-coloured materials, which can be pretty standard to tick that box. If it is located on building bushfire prone land and is less than 5 metres from a dwelling, it needs to be constructed of non-combustible material. So I guess the key point there is less than 5 metres from a dwelling. Most constructions would be connected back to the house. So non-combustible material can come back to your colour bonds or your steel applications. There's a few more to go. So down the bottom here, if the development is a roof structure, so if you've got roofing sheets, whether it's colour bond, insulated, whatnot on top, it cannot extend above the relevant roof gutter line of the dwelling. So that really rules out flyovers and sitting above the existing roof lines, which are becoming quite popular at the moment. If it is connected to the fascia, it needs to be connected in accordance with engineer specifications, which is a standard one to tick. The development needs to be constructed or installed so that any roof water is disposed of into an existing stormwater drainage system. In other words, you just can't have the stormwater running off into your garden bed and then running off into your neighbour's driveway or something like that and sort of disturbing people from there. We'll go over the page. Must not interfere with functioning or existing drainage fixtures or flow paths, which is pretty easy to tick as well. So if all of the above criteria or standards cannot be met for balconies, decks, patios, etc., they can only be installed after approval is obtained from the local council to a development application. So from here, if we're not meeting these requirements, then I would refer back to have a look at complying development as the next step, which is basically an approval process that you can obtain either through council or through a local principal certifying authority, which basically speeds up the process Failing that, then it means we're going to council for a DA. So I hope that gives you some understanding of the exempt development checklist, so you can really understand whether your patio, pergola, or deck requires an approval for your home.